WLRN Video presents.
Welcome, everyone. This is Emiliann Lorenzen, and I spoke with Thistle Pettersen about the upcoming event in Madison, Wisconsin called Sisters for Sisters, which leads up to the speaking event called Courage Calls to Courage. Thistle explains why this event is taking place and what to expect on April 22nd through the 24th of 2022. It's Emiliann, and I'm here with Thistle, the founder of WLRN. And so you were recently charged with allegedly putting a sticker on a media box on State Street in Madison. And they try to get you for a hate crime, actually. So could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, it was disorderly conduct with a hate crime enhancement. That was the official name of it. And basically, I got a call from the police, and in the summertime, I was riding my bike in Michigan between two women's music festivals, actually. And so I was on vacation in Michigan, and I got a call from the police saying that there had been an incident and they needed to talk to me. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not in Madison right now. And what is this regarding? Oh, I want to talk to you. I want to see you in person and da, da, da. And I was like, I wonder what this is about, and I didn't say anything, thankfully, to the police officer. And we just left it that he would call me when I came back to Madison. And so then when I was at the music festival, and Lauren Adams of Wolf, who's the legal director of Wolf, was at the music festival. And so we got all this wonderful face-to-face time to talk strategy and to think about the significance of this and how I should handle it and what it could mean. And it was great. And so I was in a sisterhood at this music festival in Michigan talking about this. And it still very much scared me, and it scared a lot of the women that I was talking to. They're like, you just need to hire a lawyer and get this taken care of, and all this stuff. And I mean, I definitely was traumatized by it. And then I came back to Madison, and the plan was when and if the police officer called to just not answer. But then he called several times, and sometimes, I think this might have been before I was getting so many spam calls, but one of the times I just answered it, and it was him. And he was like, I'd like you to come in and sign this statement about this incident. And I was like, well, I want to know what the incident is, and I'm not going to go to the station, but I would like to know what you're talking about. And so then he told me I had been cited with disorderly conduct and a hate crime enhancement for putting a sticker on a sticker that said Turf Collective. I think he was specific about which. I think he said it was that sticker, and that it was on the Our Lives magazine media box on State Street, and that it had angered the owner of the magazine and made him, not only angered him, it had made him feel threatened, and so they were citing me with disorderly conduct with a hate crime enhancement. And I was like, well, how do you know it was me? And he's like, well, we had video footage. And I'm like, oh, really? Huh? Okay, well, I am not going to go, and I have no statement and nothing to say to you. And, thank you for giving me this information. And he was like, okay, and we hung up. And then I think it was maybe a few weeks later, he sent the citation in the mail to me. It had a coffee stain on it. And I then found a lawyer. I worked with Lauren Adams to help me find a lawyer. And I needed a criminal defense lawyer. And then I also got in touch with Kara Dansky and other, lawyers in the movement. And just, took this seriously, like that this was significant, that I was being, these charges were being brought by the district attorney. And thankfully, I found Sarah Schmeiser. She was a really professional, very good criminal defense lawyer based here in Madison. And we were able to get the charges dismissed. And so ever since then, though, it's kind of left Madison in this place of like, well, where are we in this battle between the TERFs and the TRAs? Like,
is that magazine a TRA magazine?
Yes, Our Lives magazine. I don't have a copy of it. It's free. It's interesting because it's like glossy. It's like a glossy magazine color. So it looks really expensive, but it's free, and it's in Madison, up by the square in the Capitol, and all over State Street and all over surrounding areas as well. And they printed libel about me in 2018, I believe it was, right after I interviewed Megan Murphy and Julie Bindel on the community radio station, WORT. That magazine, Emily Mills, who is a journalist for that magazine, she's also a WORT volunteer. She printed an article saying that me and Megan and Julie Bindel were all known TERFs and like hateful bigots and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's been this long sorted thing, I guess. And Leara Keith took notice. She saw the significance of it. Kara Dansky took notice and saw the significance, the legal significance, and she included it in her book that she published as a legal case that sets precedent. And it sets precedent in our favor. And so the idea of the gathering in Madison, like, why Madison? Why do we want the TERFs to ascend onto Madison, is because this is the time for us to really take back the town square and say, you've muzzled us, you've silenced us, and we've still spoken out. We're really strong. We're going to take it even further, and we're going to make it so that women can freely be in the town square in public, expressing our opinions, naming patriarchal dynamics that we see in society as we see them from our perspective, without being slandered and persecuted and harassed for expressing our analysis, for expressing our opinions of the conditions of our oppression. Like, that's part of what I find so offensive. It's like, it's women who are TERFs. You know what I mean? Like, we are not offensive. We are women. And why, since when is the word woman hate speech? That's so ridiculous. And that's literally what's happening in Madison. Literally, people are getting upset about the word woman and calling it hate speech. Those Posey Parker woman, adult, human, female stickers are all over town, and they literally are saying that is hate speech. Wow. And the local media goes along with it. I mean, I just feel like it's unbelievable.
Well, and just to be clear, the charges were dropped against you, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were dismissed. Which the term dismissed means something slightly different than dropped. They were brought by the DA. Like, they should have been dismissed even before. They shouldn't have even gone to the hearing or whatever. They should have just been anyway. But I think dropped is when you've actually been charged. And I was never charged. I was cited by a police officer. And then the charges were brought by the district attorney. And then they were dismissed by the judge. And I can't remember his name right now. But those who were bringing the charges, the lawyer for them, and I don't remember her name either, but she was just like, Your Honor, yeah, I agree. these should be dismissed, there's no basis for this, and so we're winning, right? We're winning, and we should take to the streets in celebration. We should take to the streets in joyful defiance, and for the love of community, for the love of sisterhood and solidarity, and taking up that space, that town square space. And I think that's why Madison is a great place for women to come and have that feeling of exhilaration and first of all, we have a real town square. And State Street is one of the feeder streets to the town square. And then that's the Capitol building. And it's up on a hill on the isthmus with two lakes on either side. It's just a very mythological kind of fairyland type feeling. I'm so glad we did that show on fairy tales and how I think that, yes, this gathering is like a fairy tale. I'm the Wicked Witch, but we can turn that around,
Yeah.
And that the Capitol building is actually an exact replica of the one in Washington, D.C., which also represents a lot of power in our society. And so we take back the town square with the Capitol building right there in the center. And this is the same place where the Occupy movement got its start in 2011 with the uprising and how we occupied the state Capitol building. People were sleeping in there. They were drumming. They were doing yoga classes. It was like a cultural revolution up at the Capitol in 2011 around labor. And I think that spirit is something that we can tap into as feminists, and the town square, and that's really the point of, well, everything, even WLRN is like us having a voice, women having a voice in public. Women being able to have conversations that are taboo and learn something from one another and say things, so much so that we weave another web of existence that's not patriarchy, and obviously when you bring that out to the literal patriarchal town square, it's like such a powerful force, right? And it's so threatening to men, I think, and that's why we see all of this repression and the harassment and the ostracizing, is because women who wish to express themselves freely in the town square in patriarchal public are threatening to the patriarchy. And I don't think we're threatening in some kind of violent way, like physically violent way at all. But on the contrary, I think that we're the ones who are vulnerable to male violence. But I do think that our women's free speech is threatening to the edifice, the cultural edifice of patriarchal public. And why can't we have a matriarchal public, or at least for like 10 minutes a day, like have women up on their soapboxes in the town square? We're doing that. That's one of our events. Jessica Gonzalez from the Turf Collective is leading a Speaker's Corner in Madison in the town square. So that's where women, and I think it's going to last for an hour. And then each woman who speaks gets 5 minutes, to get up there and just say. And so, but yet we're getting pushback, obviously, like already the trans activists in Madison know that I don't know if they know about the Speaker's Corner event. Maybe after we air this, they'll know about it. I don't know how much they mine WLRN. They hate WLRN so much, but they probably do have some of their people on it. I don't know. But anyhow, the Speaker's Corner event and the public library event obviously have already been majorly attacked by the trans activists, but there's been no newspaper coverage so far. So,
okay. So the event starts that Friday. So what is this, the 22nd of April?
The event starts on April 22nd with Turf Traffic, which is a critical mass bike ride. And I won't say exactly where that bike ride is starting from or going to, but it ends in a potluck Sisters Feeding Sisters, and a nonviolent direct action training, and just women registering and getting there, and then on Saturday, if you go to the Sisters for Sisters website now, there's more detail about the different workshops and who's doing the workshops. Some women are fine with putting their name out there and other women are not, so it's interesting to see the workshops listed and the short descriptions, but there's going to be one given by a science professor, a feminist, a lesbian feminist, on biological reality. So I can just pull it up, or are you pulling it up? Just see what it says on there for the workshop schedule.
It's Sisters for the number 4 Sisters 2022.com.
Yeah.
You are listening to WLRN.
Miriam Ben Shalom is the keynote speaker. She's a Wisconsinite and a lesbian feminist that's pretty well known. And she's giving a speech called "This is not hyperbole, this is reality. I fight because of what I see around me." And then Beth Stelzer of Save Women's Sports is doing an Ask Me Anything Q&A. Lear Keith is doing a workshop on patriarchy versus the planet Earth. Charlie Jacobs is doing a workshop on children and the trans agenda in the public schools. Then there's a Crohn's Council, Women of the Second Wave, panel discussion with women who built this wave of feminism. Oh, and I see you've put it up.
Yes.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, that's the one. A biologist addresses TRA talking points. That's the one I was talking about.
Arla Heil, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then of course there are the speakers at the public library event too. Can you share your screen and bring that up? The Courage Calls to Courage, because those speakers don't overlap necessarily with Sisters for Sisters. It's a different, event. And anyone can come to this event. And we already know at this event, we know there will be trans activists. At the Sisters for Sisters event, we're hoping that there won't be. And we're doing everything we can to make sure there's not. And then down below, reading about the speakers, I'm going to speak at it. Then Dominic Christina.
Yeah, I got Dominic Christina.
Yeah, she is a poet who's won several awards for her poetry. And she was just recently canceled, I understand, at some sort of poetry reading. So, but she's amazing. Like her poetry is riveting. It's very much like her speech will be like a poem.
Yeah, she's really talented.
And then let's see, Jeanette Cooper is a mother of a child who, has ideations about gender. And she's one of the founders, I believe, of Partners in Ethical Care, which is a parents' advocacy organization for parents who have kids that are in the gender cult. And then Kara Dansky, of course, is a lawyer and the president of Women's Declaration International, formerly called the Women's Human Rights Campaign, or WHRC. And she's the president of the US chapter. And she also just released this book. Let me go get it. The Abolition of Sex, How the Transgender Agenda Harms Women and Girls. And I love that she has transgender in quotes because, it's a phenomena. and it's not an innate condition, it's socially derived. So anyway, but yet it's a real phenomena that we have to deal with, which is why you do need to name it too, I think, naming transgenderism, like we have to have a term to describe what it is that we're dealing with, without buying into it actually meaning what they wish for it to mean, which is that some people are born in the wrong body, Such a ridiculous notion. It's like the human species, we have so many other things that we could be thinking about and dedicating our talent and our, just lives to. And instead, there's just this sickness. It's so sad.
It is. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so, and then there's going to be, can you go all the way to the end on Sunday? I want to see.
Sure.
Oh, yes. The fire, there's going to be a fire at the very end. And that's been cool. We've been doing fires every other Sunday in Madison at a public location that I won't say where, but, and it's just been so nice to like meet with women in person, and with the whole COVID thing being outside, and so some women wear masks if they want to, and others don't, it's like really chill, and we have hot chocolate and tea, and we just, it's like turf tea time around the fire.
That sounds really nice.
Yeah.
I'm just going to show the viewers direct action.
Oh yeah, let's read that actually. Let's read it. It's great. In honor of Queen, do you want to read it? You read it.
Sure. In honor of Queen Rowling, we shall do a scavenger hunt across our turfdom. If you solemnly swear you are up to no good, you will be given a magical map, designed by the magnificent Natasha Petrov, and a vial of protective turf dust to complete your task. Prizes will be drawn from the Goblet of Fury on Sunday. If you escape the Dementors, following the scavenger hunt, we will meet for a speaker's corner led by the Turf Collective's Jessica Gonzalez before heading to the library for WLRN's event, Courage Calls to Courage, Feminists Speak in Solidarity. That sounds cute.
So, yeah, and like, getting back to J.K. Rowling and honoring her and making it creative and an enchanted land of, magic and a real fight, definitely. But with these magical things like turf dust that protects you as you go into the city. And anyway, I'm excited. I think it could be really, really fun, and that Madison is the best place to do this in the country right now, just for all the reasons that I listed before about our history and just the layout, like the physical layout, and then the Capitol building and what it symbolizes for people, not just in Wisconsin, but all over the country. And if we can take the town square in Madison, I feel like we'll be able to take it everywhere. So
nice. So, and you're going to be one of the speakers at the library?
I am, and I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about. Like I write my speech in my head a lot, and I haven't put a pen to the page yet. It says in the description that I'm going to talk about what's happened to me here in Madison, and yeah, maybe I will. I've already told that though. I was thinking about talking about like everyone deserves music, sweet music by Michael Franti, and how he was thinking of prisoners, and even like people that you hate, like they're still human beings and everyone deserves music. And that for me, that's what this whole thing has been about, is losing my ability to play music with others. And, I still get to, I know we're recording this and I don't want to say too much because it involves just things that I don't want people who have ill will towards me to know, but I do play music. I do get to play music, but it's not the way that I used to. And it's certainly not in the way that Michael Franti was talking about in that song. So I was thinking about like quoting from Michael Franti lyrics, and talking about how what they've deprived me of playing music is, it's just so, it's like barbarism. It's barbaric, you know, it's the opposite of where our culture should be going. Like culture, if you think about the word culture and cultivating ethics and ways that people communicate with one another, my songs are positive ways of communicating complex ideas and messages that are helping the world. You know, shutting that down is barbaric, and it's cruel and unusual punishment. If you listen to that Michael Franti song, going, you know, everyone, even your worst enemy deserves music. Why? Because music, I think it heals. You know, it has the ability to change hearts and minds and how you feel. And I don't know. So I've thought about writing about that, you know, doing a whole speech about that. Like, I like to play music, not because, I mean, yes, it was fun to like have a band and go on tour and like play at a bar. And I had fun doing that. You know, it was really fun. We'd have pizza and people would throw darts and I would play, and then everyone would hang out, and it was just nice in the neighborhood, you know. But it was also rock and roll, you know, like, I don't know. I do enjoy playing music in that setting, but my main concern is that I would just get to play with people at all and not be ostracized. Instead, just be able to feel okay in public playing music, like at an open mic or something, or in a jam, you know, and I don't. As a common citizen, not as like a rock star, but just somebody who would be at the, you know, at the jam.
Yeah.
And I'm really frustrated about that.
Yeah, that is really tough to have. I mean, it sounds like it's a huge part of your life to be taken away from you, and that sense of community and also just loving what you do. So I think that would be a great thing to speak about.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I haven't decided exactly what all, but yeah, thank you. You know, because part of what feminism is for me is, as a woman, is creating that capital S self that Mary Daly talks, taking yourself seriously. Like, yes, these are my human rights that are being harmed by this. I'm not just some white, privileged, educated lady who has the world handed to her on a silver platter. Like the trans activists, you know, will try to like make you think that about me, which is so ridiculous, because I've worked my whole life and paid rent. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, what is that called? Coming from big money or anything like that. And yet they'll try to paint a picture of me like I'm this, you know, classist, white, whatever. Yeah. And it's just so frustrating, because I just want to be able to be myself, you know, and just be expressive, and for people to not be so offended all the time by me being myself. And
Yeah,
you know, I don't know.
yeah. And what do you think is needed in the women's movement right now?
I would say dedicated, committed women who follow through on their word and take it seriously, take themselves seriously, take their sisters seriously and sisterhood seriously, that it's not just a hobby. It's like, this is a freedom fight and I'm in it for life. We need warriors. We need women who, you know, are willing, like Jennifer and Joy went to the swim meet recently, and stand up for women, stand up for women. even when they're swimming, and like
Mm-hmm.
they did that little direct action and it got so much traction on social media. We need a lot more of that. We need duos. Just go with a friend, one friend. I mean, look at how much they were able to do, just the two of them, and so we need more creative theatrical actions at swim meets, at women's prisons, at homeless shelters, domestic violence shelters, gender clinics, people who are willing, women in particular, who are willing to put themselves out there and join forces with other women who are willing to put themselves out there. And eventually there's so many of us that you can't shut it down, that's what we need.
Yeah. And the Sisters for Sisters event sounds like a great opportunity to do that networking and to learn some skills at the workshops, and to kind of, for women who aren't involved and want to find some ways to get involved, it might be a good opportunity for them to find their place. Right? Yeah. So what can women listening or viewing, how can they support this project, the event?
Yeah. If you can't come, we do need monetary donations. If you've got a little extra cash that you can throw our way, there is a donate button on the Sisters for Sisters website. But primarily we need women to come. We want women from Wisconsin, especially, but surrounding areas. It's mainly a US group that's going to be there. So I don't think we have any women from other countries coming to this event. But that's okay, because this is a US case, and our country's huge. And so getting women from my region, from the Wisconsin region, is a high priority for me. What else do we need? Just getting the word out, even if you can't come to the event, again, spread the information around through social media, talk it up, let women know that there's this opportunity to learn some skills in direct action and nonviolent, civil disobedience. And I mean, we're not doing civil disobedience, we're just doing nonviolent direct action. But yeah, the library event, spread that information around, share the WLRN live stream when it's being live streamed, because we want to create a buzz on the day itself, because it was a big struggle to even get the library. I mean, even though it's like the law, like they have to provide it to us, they still were hemming and hawing and having big board meetings and the president and so on and so forth, all about whether they were going to give it to us or not. It took a while before they actually gave us the contract, so just really, when it's happening, share the live stream and watch the live stream.
And the library event is the only thing that's going to be live streamed.
Well, I don't know yet. We'll see.
Well, that's what's planned, right?
That for sure, the library event will be live streamed by WLRN. If there may be other things that do get live streamed, but they may not. I don't know. We'll find out. I mean, that's a technical question, and I'm not sure about that.
It's just for anybody who wants to see the speakers event, they can see that.
Yep, totally.
Well, that sounds really exciting.
For more information about Sisters for Sisters, go to sistersforsisters2022.com. Purchase your ticket before they sell out. You can also buy some merchandise or make a donation. For more information about the speaking event Courage Calls to Courage, go to Eventbrite. There is a link in the description box. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope to see you in Madison.